Hello, hello. Welcome back. It is the second weekend for the Regional Community Cup. Tonight we will be racing around Silverstone. As you can see, we are just waiting for a couple of drivers. We will be starting very soon. Alright, enough of fuckery now, boys. Pulls it back into your Aston Martin. Alright. Uh, and is there anybody else remaining? Are we waiting for someone else? Lads, hello.
I don't think.
I don't know. Sawadikash.
I think
So,
Adikash doesn't come.
So we can start, I guess.
alright then.
Wait, invite me ना मेरा क्या
Arey bhai,
चालू हो
wait,
गया
do not ready up. Wait, unready everyone.
Radio. Radio.
Do not ready up. I'm inviting Daniel
safety
Avocado
car
So
and
ready.
Lulu unready. You little shit.
I've sent an invite to Avocado.
Uh, uh, Daniel Avocado, you can race for Mercedes this weekend as well.
Mercedes
Yes, Aryan, I will explain what's happening. Give me a moment. Let me just
Why
set
can't
the
I race
lobby.
for Williams now?
And hello,
never mind, you
Priyan,
guys go
Lulu.
ahead. No response.
Arey, what are you doing, bro? Just decide.
Dude, it's not letting me join. What do I do?
All right,
The game is not letting me
fuck
join.
it then. Lads, ready up. Everybody, ready up.
That's me. Hey, hey, shut up. That's me.
Also,
Hey, wait,
I
wait.
am going to take away every possible perk
No,
that you
wait.
have. Now,
wait.
enough. Let's start first. Then you can continue with your fuckery. All right, wait, guys. Unready. Adhikash is here. Unready. Unready, boys.
Mate, you are such a fraud. You deserve this. हाँ also तो 6:30 क्यों लिखता है बे हर बार? Just write the joining time.
All right, so Aryan, yeah, we are doing a league race. I am organizing a league race where all of these drivers, all the people that you see in the list up ahead, they are going to be racing against each other and competing in a championship. So this is the third race. We already did two. The first one was in Australia. The second one was in Bahrain. Today is the third one in Great Britain around the Silverstone circuit. So we'll be having a qualifying round where drivers will put in the fastest lap and try to get pole position. After that, we are going to have a sprint race of 4 laps. After the sprint race, we're going to have a main race for 13 laps. So that's how it's going to be now. So you can stay tuned and keep an eye out. You'll see a lot of action now. And if you remember Red from Discord, the Valo guy, he's also racing. I mean, since I am organizing the league race, it's up to me if I want to keep a prize or no. Yes, Lal Hai is also racing. Yeah, as I was saying, it's up to me if I want to keep a prize or no, and I still haven't decided whether if I'm going to keep a prize or no. So let's see. For now, we are all playing in good fun. We're all racing in good fun. However, if towards the end of the league I decide that okay, I want to give a prize away, I probably might. Hello, Tanuj. Yes, Lulu. Why are you depressed, Tanuj? I mean, yeah, technically you're in Egypt, so is there anything to do in Egypt except for stare at pyramids? Can't even watch F1 here. That's sad.
अन्ना को पिन मारो
Why
भाई.
why are y'all reading up, bro? Adhikash is still not in the lobby. Why are y'all reading up? I mean, do y'all not understand simple instructions?
I will not be playing.
What?
No, I can't play today. I don't have PS Plus.
Okay then. Then y'all can ready up. Alright, so we are 10 seconds away from starting the Silverstone Grand-Prix in the Rage Their Community Cup. Here it is. Built around in the 1950s, the Silverstone circuit is based on an old Airforce Base from the World War era. So it's an amazing, amazing circuit. Real fun to drive, real flowy, some really challenging corners. It really takes a test on the drivers and their driving capabilities. As you can see, we are heading into the qualifying session now. Just waiting for all drivers to get into the grids and their particular pit boxes.
Wait कर देना. Thank you.
What happened now?
I don't know.
Anna, what are the
I'm
wings
sending you an invite again, Kulsud.
for Anna?
Yes,
What are the wings for Silverstone?
it's up to you. I use 1216.
Thank you. I was just cross-checking.
Kulsud has been invited again. All right, so we are back into for the qualifying around Silverstone. First car out on track is the McLaren of Good is Bacon. The Papaya army is looking strong around here. The next car out on track is going to be the Haas of Robin Hood. Holy shit, what the fuck is wrong with this? across. There was cops? So I don't know what's wrong with my game. Why is it lagging? Like, why is there a discrepancy in... Pulsud has left the session again for some reason. He's go a little wide through there. Anyway, coming across the final corner now, across the finish line, starts his flying lap. Good is Bacon in that orange McLaren. Coming across turn 1, keeping it nice between the white lines. He is going to be facing a little bit of traffic up ahead from the Mercedes and Aston Martin, but he should be able to clear that, or probably maybe use it to his advantage, get a slipstream as he heads into the first DRS zone. As you can see, the wing wide open on that McLaren, taking a nice tow from the Mercedes up ahead of Maniac Knight. Goes purple to the first sector with a 27.7 in the first sector split, and he has been impeded by that Mercedes, and I believe that is going to ruin his lap, and he will be reporting Maniac Knight for impeding on a flying lap. As you can see, quite a lot of cars are out on track at the moment for their flying laps. A brief yellow flag. We're waiting on another championship contender, that is Steeled Sneeze 94. And Chocolate on an outlap. Maniac Knight has invalidated his previous lap, which is his outlap. And we have Robin Hood in the Haas coming across Maggots and Beckett towards the end of the second sector with a 105.5 in the second sector split. Goes purple through the second sector there in that Haas. Coming across the final 2 turns now. I believe he will be going fastest. We have to see what does Good is Bacon do in that McLaren. Does he go for another fast lap after this? Good is Bacon 1-4, and Robin Hood goes fastest with a 129.5, and I believe Good is Bacon is going on his second flying lap after getting impeded by that Mercedes. Let's see, and there is a brief yellow flag in sector 1, and that is for the Aston Martin of Priyan 44. He has lost it and gone into the gravels. It does not seem as if he's damaged his car. Everything looks intact, and we have a yellow flag for the Red Bull of Syed OP as well, who is spinning around at the start line. He's gone second fastest at the moment with a 131.4. Now on board with the McLaren of Good is Bacon as he's coming around Maggots and Beckett's now. Keeping it nicely through there, taking some tight lines on towards the end of sector 2. A 104.0 in the second sector split, goes fastest. Coming across Stowe now. I believe this is his pole lap, and we are seeing the Red Bull that has lost its front wing and well, has basically ruined and 128.1 for Good is Bacon in that McLaren. Goes fastest, is on provisional pole at the moment on his second run in this qualifying session, and Fearsome JD in that Alfa Romeo has invalidated his lap, and so has the Aston Martin of Priyan, riding on board with Slowy Red in that Alpha Tauri. A 104.5 in the second sector split, goes purple, and I believe Slowy Red and that Alpha Tauri are going to be real contenders for pole position tonight, and probably one of the 2 to 3 cars that are going to contend with Good is Bacon up in front. Coming across the final couple of corners now, keeping it nice and tight. It's the 6th gear across the finish line. 128.7 goes 6/10 slower than Good is Bacon and slots into P2. This wasn't a great run for Slowy Red, in my opinion. As you can see, Good as Bacon, the teammate of Good as Bacon, Fugazi Ragazi, in the other Papaya McLaren, is in P5 at the moment. The Red Bull of Syed OP, after losing their front wing, goes back into the box. And Fearsome JD, I believe, is on his second timed run now. Or is on a banker, is he? And I believe Fearsome JD does not have enough of fuel to make it across and put in another flying lap. So on board with the Aston Martins, the only two main cars that are out on track and haven't still put in a representative time on board. Kulsud goes fast with a 129.8. 5/100ths quicker than Chocolate in that Alpine. As we are seeing Priyan 44 in the other Aston Martin coming across the finish line, and he goes 7th. And I believe he's lost his car once again. I don't know what's up with him. What is he doing? This is the second time he's lost his car. And what about Slowy Red? Slowy Red is just slow around. And now we are seeing Steel Sneeze 94 in that second Alfa Romeo coming out on track. The track will have definitely evolved, gotten up to more speed, and is definitely going to be a little advantageous for that Alfa Romeo. As we can see we can see Fugazi Ragazi in the second McLaren also coming out for his for another timed run. And what about Slowy Red? Is Slowy Red going for a second run on the same old tires? It looks like it. We'll follow him on his flying lap at the moment, while we wait for Steel Sneeze to begin his flyer. Using the complete width of the track nicely, cutting through the chicane perfectly, keeping it on track. That is looking like a very good lap for Slowy Red. Coming across the first sector, 27.941 in the first sector split. About a 10th quicker than his previous, does go purple. Now onto the straight towards Cops he goes. Will possibly be facing a little bit of traffic up ahead. Or probably not. Coming across Maggots and Beckett's. Can he keep it through here? Keeping it nice and tight. And those are some amazing tight lines taken by Slowy Red at the moment. Coming across a 104.3, 2/10ths quicker than his previous best. Goes fastest. Sets a purple sector in the second as well. He is 2/10ths faster than his previous lap time. So will he be able to contend for pole is the question. The gap ahead to provisional pole is 6/10ths for Slowy Red. Will he be able to find that much time though, as he's coming across the finish line? 128.4 closes down the gap to within 3/10ths, but still not good enough for provisional pole. You have no rear end. Change your tire pressures, dimwit. Change your tire. You can't increase rear downforce now, so all you can do is increase tire pressures and pray for the temperatures to keep in. Yeah, well, that's your skill issue. And will Slowy Red be going out for another timed run is the question, as we see Good as Bacon. I don't remember the tire pressures. Keep like 2 clicks for the front tires. Keep 2 clicks from the right, and probably 3 clicks. Just ask somebody in the Discord channel, bro. You're sitting in the VC. Ask somebody in the VC to help you out with the setup now. Whatever they can. On board with Steel Sneeze as he is coming around. Oh, and he's invalidated. The Alfa Romeo of Steel Sneeze has invalidated. And this ruins his timed run. We can see 6 minutes remaining in this qualifying session at the moment. We'll quickly ride on board with Good as Bacon, who is on his outlap currently, coming across Maggots and Beckett's. And Slowy Red is going into the box, probably for a new set of soft tires to give it a final run towards pole position. And we have a lot of cars out on track at the moment. Let's ride on board with the second McLaren of Fugazi Regazi. Coming across the first DRS zone, the wing is open. Going around a 28.3, goes 6/100ths quicker than his previous lap time. That is a personal best for Fugazi Regazi in the McLaren. However, what kind of a lap time will he be able to put in? Is he going to be challenging for the front row? Does not look like it for now. However, we will stay tuned and follow him on board on his lap at the moment. And we can see Steel Sneeze. Is he still continuing on his fast lap? Does not seem to have the battery pack remaining. Maniac Knight coming across Maggots and Beckett's now. And Good is Bacon has just completed his first sector. And I believe he will be looking to break into the mid 127s if he wants to make sure that he keeps this provisional pole for himself. And is there a bit of team game going around at Aston Martin? Did look so for a brief moment, but Kulsud has invalidated his lap time. And Steel Sneeze is back into the pits, probably for a tire change, increased fuel for... Anyway, riding on board with Good as Bacon now, current provisional pole sitter. And I believe we have the Red Bull of Syed OP as well, and he has abandoned his lap. He will be going back into the pits. And now the Alpha Tauri of Slowy Red is coming out of the pits, probably for his third and final run. We have under 5 minutes remaining in this session now. So all drivers will probably get 1 or 2 final qualifying runs in this session. Depends on the kind of fuel load they run. The Aston Martin of Priyan 44 really struggling to keep it on track as he's coming across, I believe, starting his flying lap. Priyan 44 was supposed to be a contender for the front row, but he just does not seem to have the pace in him this weekend. And a yellow flag up ahead for the Haas of Robin Hood. However, Priyan clears it nicely. On towards Cops goes the Aston Martin. And that was fearsome. JD just stopped on track for some reason, which was extremely dangerous. Through Maggots and Beckett's goes Priyan 44 in that green Aston Martin. And goes purple in the second sector with a 104.859 in the second sector split. This run is coming across very well for that Aston Martin now, as we see him round around through Stowe, and he's lost it. Oh, and that is qualifying done for that Aston Martin. And that's a real heartbreak. Was that the commentator's curse? As we said that the lap is coming together for that Aston Martin, he just managed to bin it. What about Good as Bacon? Good as Bacon, I believe, is going out on another set. And we can see Slowy Red on an outlap, I believe. Is he? Let's have a look. Yes, he is on an outlap, not deploying the battery pack. Priyan, that's just skill issue, bro. I mean, I don't know how do you lose it through there. Mate. You should have practiced a little, at least knowing that you had a race this weekend. I wonder what are you going to do in Spa tomorrow. You're racing around Spa-Francorchamps tomorrow. And if this is your condition in Silverstone, I swear I don't know what you're going to do in Spa. Very nice. And whose fault is that? You're supposed to check your setups before going out. You know Park Ferme is applicable. Anyway, we are nearing the final minute of this qualifying session now, as we see Slowy Red starting his flying lap. Also, Priyan, don't be so disheartened. We have a sprint race. The sprint race sets the grid for the the sprint race sets the grid for the feature race. So probably you can make up a few places, get onto the front row. 40 seconds remaining in this qualifying session now, and a few cars will be taking the checkered flag. And we have to see, is will Steel Sneeze be able to make it through? In the moment, let's ride on board with Slowy Red in that Alpha Tauri as he's coming across. Now on towards Cops he goes. Keeping it nice through there on track towards Maggots and Beckett's. A very tricky section on this circuit. Very easy to invalidate and in fact even lose the car. But Slowy Red does extremely well to keep it through there and goes purple in the second sector, 1.5 tenths quicker with the 104.170 in the second sector split. I believe Slowy Red is going to try and take this battle to good as bacon. As we see, the checkered flag has now been waved, and Maniac Knight and Fearsome JD have taken the checkered flag. They won't be able to start off with any more runs. And Syed OP and Priyan have retired from the session since Steel Sneeze is on his first and possibly the last flying run. We see Slowy Red a 128.2014, 4/100 slower than Good as Bacon. And Good as Bacon currently put in a 103.9 in the second sector split, goes purple in the second sector, and I believe he is gonna break through into the 127s, probably the mid 127s, and I believe this is gonna stay pole for Good as Bacon unless Steel Sneeze 94 in that Alfa Romeo can pull something out of the hat and take the challenge up to the front row. He did not go purple through the second sector. Good as Bacon goes fastest with the 127.7, 5 tenths quicker than Slowy Red in P2. However, we are on board with Steel Sneeze 94 in that Alfa Romeo coming across the final couple of corners now. Across the finish line he goes and slots in P3, 128.211. That is 1/100th of a second slower than Slowy Red. That is 0.010 slower. That is the gap between P2 and P3 at the moment. Robin Hood in that Haas with an exceptional performance is in P4. Fugazi Ragazi in that second McLaren in P5. Kulsud in the second Aston Martin has taken the checkered flag, will slot into P6. Chocolate in that Alpine in P7. We lost Priyan 44 in that other Aston Martin after a horrific crash towards the end of his flying lap towards the last corner, and we've lost that Aston Martin since. Fearsome JD in the second Alfa Romeo in P9, Syed OP in the Red Bull in P10, and Maniac Knight in the Mercedes in the Silver Arrow stays P11. So that is your current grid after the qualifying session. And we will be heading into the sprint race now. It's going to be a 4-lap sprint across Silverstone. Yes, you should be thanking everybody back at the factory for getting that Aston Martin ready. Let's hope you do not bin it in the sprint race and make some positions and probably, take the fight up front. All right, we are racing in Silverstone now. In the next 20 seconds, it is going to be a sprint you identify as a Lance/Stroll. You invalidated 29.4. Mate, that's sad. Chocolate. But anyway, you can make up places in the sprint. Don't be disheartened. Let's go. We are racing around Silverstone for the sprint race. And this is going to be an exciting 4-lap shootout around this around 5-kilometer circuit. Stay tuned, lads, because this is certainly going to be exciting. 10 seconds to go. All right, it's lights out and away we go for the sprint race in Silverstone. A good start for Fugazi Raghazi in the McLaren, making up places as he goes side by side. Slowy Red has taken the lead into turn 1 and somebody went straight off. And Chocolate, that was Chocolate, and there is a huge collision into turn 1, and I believe that is between Maniac Knight and Fearsome JD. The Alfa Romeo and the Mercedes came together into turn 1, and it's a safety car. Oh, it's a virtual safety car, I believe. We have already lost Chocolate in that Alpine. I don't know what went wrong with Chocolate there. He went straight on into the barriers, and that was... Indeed, that was indeed a joke. 1U and George Russell flashback from F122. However, we see Slowy Red, after an amazing start into turn 1, has taken the lead of the British Grand-Prix for the time being, as we see this virtual safety car around the track. Good as Bacon has lost one position. The Aston Martin of Prion 44 has made up a couple of places. Chocolate, you're saying Kulsud rammed you into the barrier. Alright, you can send in an appeal and we will make sure that the stewards take an appropriate decision. And Syed OP has somehow in the Red Bull dropped down to last place. And we are racing once again as we see... Oh, and they are going side by side. That's an intense battle between our two championship contenders. As we can see, Goodies Bacon and Slowy Red side by side, and they're very close, racing wheel to wheel. This is an intense battle between the two. And Steel Sneeze is joining the battle right now. As we can see, he is very close to the front too. And Slowy Red somehow manages to keep in front. And Steel Sneeze will be very thankful for the two of them for battling so hard and helping him gain that time. He will be waiting for the right opportunity to pounce on that race lead. Robin Hood in that Haas is putting in an exceptional performance, staying in P4 after losing. He's staying in P4, maintaining his position. Fugazi Raghazi is now under pressure by the Aston Martin of Prion 44, and I believe he will be sent back towards the next straight. And now we can see Slowy Red and Goodies Bacon, they are almost equal on ERS, and so is Steel Sneeze. A slight advantage for Steel Sneeze in the Alfa Romeo when it comes to the battery pack. Slowy Red is putting an exceptional performance, but how long can he keep it? As we can see, Goodies Bacon almost tried to go on the inside towards the end of the final turn, and now we have DRS enabled by race control. This will be very advantageous for Goodies Bacon and Steel Sneeze. However, we'll have to see how does Slowy Red defend against the two charging contenders. And they're going side by side, and Goodies Bacon, and they're wheel to wheel now. That is an intense battle between the two, and Steel Sneeze is joining in because he saw Red lose a little bit of time, and that is the Aston Martin of Prion that has lost out and has dropped down to P8. He lost 2 places. We saw Fearsome JD in the second Alfa Romeo get a 3-second time penalty. for exceeding track limits, I believe. And Slowy Red has lost out a couple of places. He's down to P3 now. Good as Bacon retakes the lead of the British Grand-Prix. Steel Sneeze in that Alfa Romeo moves up to P2. This is an exciting battle up front for the lead. As we can see, this is the third lap out of 4. We will be starting the final lap very soon as the top 3 come across Stowe now. Fugazi rammed you, alright, clip it, Priyan, clip it and send it across in appeals and we will take a decision. The stewards will take a decision. I won't be taking any words for it. I need videographic evidence. Goodis Bacon sets the fastest lap, but no, Robin Hood with a 130.2 goes fastest in that Haas. We have to see now on the final lap of this sprint race, what can Slowy Red pull out of the bag? And can he take the lead once again? Can he make up places? Currently, he is down 1 place. He started second, is currently third. Gets a podium, will get a podium though. However, I don't think this would be enough for Slowy Red. He does go purple in the first sector. He is deploying his battery pack as much as he can to make those places. Priyan 44 gets a 3-second time penalty now. The three-way battle up front is going to be interesting as we head towards Maggots and Beckett's. DRS will be open for the 2, but is Steel Sneeze close enough to make a move? He is deploying his entirety of the battery pack, but he needed probably 100 more meters, a car length more to make that move stick as they're coming across the final corner now. And Slowy Red is awfully close to the back of that Alfa Romeo, but will not have enough to make the move stick. And as you can see, and Steel Sneeze and Kulsud, I believe, came together once again and have lost out. And Priyan 44 in that Aston Martin does not have front wing. So while this race was absolutely exciting for the front 3, the remainder of the grid has really created an absolute ruckus towards the end of this race. As you can see, the Red Bull of Syed OP still in P10 coming across Stowe now. We lost Chocolate in that Alpine. And I believe this is going to be a long night for the stewards after this race, with all the appeals coming in. Driver of the day rightfully goes to Steel Sneeze for making up that place, putting himself up into P2 and giving him a good chance of oh shit. Alright, so that is your grid for the sprint race done. Goodis Bacon takes first. Steel Sneeze 94 in that Alfa Romeo takes second. Slowy Red, after a good start, binned it and dropped down to P3. However, he will have a good chance in the feature race now. As you can see, Red choked for real. Well, it's not that easy. It may look easy to sit outside and watch the race, but it may not be as easy to battle out in front. So while yes, I was also rooting for Slowy Red to make some moves into the sprint race, but alas, it's alright. We have this feature race now. We will be starting in the next minute or so. So I advise the audience to stay tuned now, because we will be having a 13-lap feature race after that exciting sprint race we saw. We should be starting in the next 5 seconds now, as the grid is getting formed up. And There you can see it's lights out and away we go. It's a good start for Slowy Red and he's already wheel to wheel with Steel Sneeze. Into turn 1 we go, and it's gonna be a tight one through there. He stays behind, cannot make the move stick. Oh, and there is slight contact between Slowy Red and Robin Hood. However, oh, and what's happening there? And that was the McLaren of Fugazi Ragazi straight up going into the side of that Haas. So we have only 2 out of 11 drivers starting on the mediums, whereas the remainder start on softs. And Slowy Red has gone for the soft strategy, and so has Goodies Bacon. Steel Sneeze on the alternate. Will he be able to pull it off is the question. If he is able to stay within the distance and keep the pressure on Goodies Bacon, he may be able to pull the strategy off and get a very good run in the second stint. As we see Chocolate in that Alpine is making some move stick, and he's already up into P8. And there's contact between Chocolate and Priyan 44 in that Aston Martin. The racing has been absolutely ridiculous towards the back of the grid. However, we are on board with Goodies Bacon, the current race leader, with Steel Sneeze in that Alfa Romeo and Slowy Red in that Alpha Tauri coming in close and trying to chase that down. A surprising run by Kulsud, who has made up a couple of places, and the Mercedes of Maniac Knight making up 4 places, Syed OP in that Red Bull making up 4 places, Fugazi Ragazi dropping down 3 places, and Robin Hood in that Haas is the one that has lost the most. He has dropped down 6 places. And we can see Priyan 44 in that Aston Martin pitting in for a new front wing after that contact with Chocolate in that Alpine, and coming out on a set of medium tires. He will have to take this set of medium tires all the way for the next 11 laps, which is going to be very tough for him. And we can see Goodies Bacon is pulling out a gap from behind. The gap seems to be stable at around 1.2 seconds at the moment. Steel Sneeze does not seem to be pressuring Goodies Bacon as much. However, we can see that Alpha Tauri of Slowy Red closing in for that second place. He is on a softer set of tires than Alpha Tauri, and if he does not clear that Alfa Romeo now, it's going to be very tough for him in the second stint to make up the places and cover up the gap. We will have DRS enabled, as we can see that Alfa Romeo slowed down a little on the apex. Red got a very good exit through there, and now with DRS and ERS, Red is going side by side with that Alpha Tauri. Will make the move, and we saw the Alfa Romeo briefly coming in for a switchback, could not make it stick, and Slowy Red has made the move, is up into P2. However, the gap ahead has significantly increased to 2.1 seconds, which is going to be a huge feat for Slowy Red to achieve and cover up, while he has Steel Sneeze in the background chasing him down on a medium set of tires. As the race progresses, as we head deeper into the laps, those softs are going to fall off very quickly, and those mediums are going to start working. And those mediums are going to start working very quick, which are going to be very advantageous for Steel Sneeze. As we can see, the Red Bull of Syed OP spinning around on track, losing places, dropping down to P10. Not the performance we were hoping from a Red Bull driver, but this is what we get. And again, continuous spinning from Syed OP in that Red Bull. Red is managing to close that gap down little by little, but very brief moments. He still cannot make any significant inroads while that Alfa Romeo still stays within the DRS range and tries to chase Slowy Red for that P2 and possibly the race win for Steel Sneeze 94. Now this is a battle that is going to be exciting between two keyboard players. Chocolate in that Alpine, Maniac Knight in the Mercedes. Chocolate has DRS. Will he be sending one down the inside? Yes, he will. Maniac Knight chooses not to fight him that hard, but is coming around for the switchback. And that is some intense racing from the two, and there's contact, this slight contact between the two. Chocolate gets a little out of shape. The Mercedes of Maniac Knight makes it through, moves up back into P5. However, oh, and there's contact again. Chocolate tried to send one down the inside of that Mercedes into Cops. With contact, he lost out a little, which is not great, as we see Robin Hood in that Haas making moves, moving up to P7 after a horrible start for him in this particular race. Fugazi Regazi in that second McLaren. I believe we will be seeing some appeals against him as well. Pearson JD is trying to make those moves, and Priyan is, after that initial contact in the opening laps of this race, he decided to go for a new front wing and a set of medium tires that he now has to take on for another 7 laps. So if he can keep the pace up on those mediums and obviously protect those mediums, he will be able to make up quite a few places. As we can see, Steel Sneeze in that Alfa Romeo on those mediums is chasing Red down. The gap is under 5/10 of a second, and I believe the tires for Slowy Red in that Alpha Tauri are starting to fall off, as the gap up ahead has increased to 2.4 seconds almost now. And towards the next DRS zone after Maggots and Beckett's on towards Stowe, the advantage will stay with Steel Sneeze. As we can see now, under 5/10, Slowy Red is possibly deploying his battery pack a little bit. No, he isn't. However, Steel Sneeze is playing it real smart by staying within the DRS of that soft runner, knowing that Slowy Red will have to box very soon. And Slowy Red is already into the pits. He is going for a massive undercut on Good is Bacon. This unleashes Steel Sneeze 94 up in clear air to start closing the gap down on Good is Bacon up ahead, who will possibly start to struggle on his set of soft tires as they are 5 laps old, and he will be losing a bit of grip unless he's managed to make his tires stay. And Priyan 44 in that Aston Martin gets a 3-second time penalty, which I believe is for track limits. And on board with Steel Sneeze 94, he does not seem to be closing the gap down as much as we thought he would. Now, on board with Slowy Red in that Alpha Tauri, this is going to be a very crucial outlap for Slowy Red, because this lap will decide whether his undercut on Good is Bacon has worked or no. Another exciting strategic twist that we will be seeing in this race will be Steel Sneeze in that Alfa Romeo, who will be boxing probably in the next 2 laps for a set of soft tires, and is going to be challenging Good is Bacon and Slowy Red for the race win, as he will be having a much softer compound to race with in the second stint. Coming across Cops is Slowy Red. He has kept it nice and clean throughout this race, and Good is Bacon is spitting in from the race lead, and the race lead has now been overtaken by Steel Sneeze 94 in that Alfa Romeo. Now on board with Slowy Red, we will have to see how good of an outlap has he put in, and has he made this undercut work. Coming across Stowe and the final couple of corners, Good is Bacon has already exited the pit, so I don't believe that undercut for Slowy Red worked out the way he hoped it would. the gap is still pretty significant between the two. However, Bacon is going to have a set of cold medium tires, while Slowy Red would have a good set of temperature in his tires and can actually push through. We'll have to see how much can he actually push through. Kulsud in the meantime has taken P2. However, he still hasn't boxed. So the net P2 currently stays with Good as Bacon, and Slowy Red will be in a net P3. However, we have to see at what lap does Steel Sneeze 94 go into the box for a new set of soft tires, and will he make this overcut work? Because we saw Red trying a different strategy, going for the undercut, wasn't able to make it work. Now we have to watch the Alfa Romeo for an overcut. Pretty much the entire grid has completed their mandatory pit stops at the moment, and I don't believe there will be any more pit stops except for one that was possibly Chocolate that was coming out on a new set of mediums. Steel Sneeze is extending his lead up in front as much as he can, but I believe those medium tires will also have started to give out, as he's done 7 laps on those tires. And well, you know, when we reduce the race length, the tire degradation is significantly increased by that amount. So Slowy Red is about 7.5 seconds behind Good as Bacon, and he has not managed to make his undercut work on Bacon, which is really upsetting. Will Steel Sneeze be boxing this lap? Yes, he will be. Is he gonna make this overcut work is the question. As we see Kulsud in the lead, Aston Martin at the moment coming across. Is he also going into the box? No. Kulsud decides to stay out and is extending his stint, as we see Good as Bacon coming across Stowe now. And Steel Sneeze will be putting on a fresh set of soft tires as Good as Bacon coming around the final corner. And I don't think this has worked out the way Steel Sneeze hoped for, but last 4 laps of this race now, Steel Sneeze will be on a brand new set of soft tires, while Good as Bacon is going to be on a set of mediums. So the softs should be significantly faster for that Alfa Romeo, and the gap between them is about 6 seconds. We have to see how much can Steel Sneeze actually push and make up and utilize those tires. Those tires should ideally give Steel Sneeze an advantage of almost 2 seconds per lap on lap deltas, but that is predicted and basically an assumption. It is still subjective to driver pace. The gap has increased by 3/10, but we need to also notice that Steel Sneeze is going to be out on a set of soft, even though he's on a set of soft tires, they're going to be cold. He won't have as much temperature in them as Bacon does, so he will take probably 1 lap more to get temperature up into those tires. However, the pace should significantly increase once the temperatures are up. All we can do is wait and watch for the next 4 laps as this race unfolds. The lead Aston Martin of Kulsud is going into the pits for the mandatory tire change, and Good is Bacon hence takes up the net race lead. Chocolate in that Alpine gets a 3-second time penalty for exceeding track limits. And we can see Steel Sneeze is covering up. The gap is now down to 5.7 seconds, and he has increased the gap behind to Slowy Red as well. Kulsud gets a time penalty as well, which should be ideally for track limits, I believe. Yes. The gap is closing down very nicely. Steel Sneeze has managed to take out about 4/10 of a second through one sector. Keeping this up, he should be ideally gaining about 1.2 seconds per lap to good as Bacon. However, he may not have enough laps to cover that up unless he actually goes for a mega push laps through this entire stint and gives no care to his set of soft tires. He seems to be deploying his battery. Good as Bacon has a very good amount of battery pack remaining. He is at 70%, while Steel Sneeze 94 is at 30%. This could come into play towards the end of this race, even if Steel Sneeze 94 manages to get that gap down and manages to get within DRS range. As we are starting lap 11, Steel Sneeze goes fastest with a 129.807. He will be getting that one extra point for the fastest lap, I believe. But will he be getting the race win is the question. About 2 laps remaining for Steel Sneeze to cover up 5 seconds in this race. I doubt it is possible. We'll have to wait and see, and will Chloe Red be able to pull out anything from his bag right now to cover up the gap to Steel Sneeze up ahead towards the end of this race, towards the last 2 laps now, and probably fight for the P2? Or will he stay in P3 and be satisfied with the podium that he has at the moment? That McLaren is cruising out in front very comfortably and is almost at moments to lap the Red Bull of Syed OP. However, now let's head down towards the midfield, where we are seeing an exciting battle that will ensue very shortly between Priyan 44 in the Aston Martin and Maniac Knight in the Mercedes. This is going to be exciting. And Priyan 44 has gotten another 3-second time penalty for exceeding track limits. And I believe this race has come undone for that Aston Martin. He does not have enough battery pack either. Will he be able to charge down with DRS going on the inside of Stowe? And he makes that move stick. Priyan 44 is up into P7, but he's been pushed wide by the Mercedes of Maniac Knight, who tried to fight back for that position. That is an amazing battle between the two. Will Priyan 44 be able to make the move stick into turn 1? He is deploying his battery pack and is going for it. And Maniac Knight is coming back at him with a switchback. Maniac Knight in the Mercedes is not letting this go, and that is some intense racing, as we can see Chocolate in that Alpine joining the battle now for P8. He will also have DRS right behind. The gap up ahead between Steel Sneeze and Good as Bacon is about 4.4 seconds, and I believe Slowy Red has just dropped off the pace, as the gap between him and Steel Sneeze has dropped down to 4.5 seconds again. So I believe Slowy Red won't be pushing any further and is very satisfied with his position at the moment, as we are rounding around and the leaders have started their final lap. We are riding on board, and that's a huge crash! That's a huge crash between Priyan 44 in that Alpine, in the Aston Martin, and Chocolate in that Alpine. All three of them have 6 seconds of time penalties. And this is essentially going to be a battle out on track, as Bacon rounds around the final corner, crosses the finish. No, wait. There's one other lap left. Bloody hell. Okay, anyway, we will ride back on board with that Aston Martin and Chocolate. And Syed OP has gotten a 3-second time penalty once again. So the battle between between Priyan 44 and Aston Martin and Maniac Knight in that Mercedes gave Chocolate a very good chance to slot in between the two and take that position. However, I believe Priyan is going to try and come back at him towards the end of this race now. Syed OP comes across the finish line, will probably take the checkered flag now. As okay, he hasn't been lapped yet. Syed OP starts his final lap. As we see Goodis Bacon around the final corner, takes the checkered flag and wins the British Grand-Prix. Steel Sneeze in that Alfa Romeo comes out in P2. Slowy Red in the Alpha Tauri, wiggling across the finish line, comes out in P3. And we will wait for the remainder of the cars to cross the finish line. We will ride on board with Priyan 44 in that Aston Martin as he's coming across the final DRS zone. I doubt he will be able to make those positions. And Kulsud in that Aston Martin has come across in P4. Robin Hood, a mega drive from him as well, out in P5 for Haas. Solid points scored for the team. Fugazi Ragazi in the second. McLaren comes across in P6. Now we'll ride on board with the Mercedes of Maniac Knight in P7. Chocolate comes out in P8. Priyan 44 in the second Aston Martin. P9. Fearsome JD will be coming across the final turn in a few moments and will take the checkered flag for the last point scoring position, P10. However, I am absolutely certain that this won't be the final grid and we will be facing a lot of appeals and penalties that would come across. We'll just wait for the Red Bull of Syed OP to come across and take the checkered flag. Oh my god, what a race.
Yeah, there was something right.
बॉक्स का नेट कितना फ्लक्चुएट करता है, लेफ्ट राइट होता रहता है.
Yeah, that Aston didn't want to give me space there, but yeah, I mean,
रेडी है तो एवरीवन.
Also the photo driver.
Bacon, can you save the entire race replay if you haven't?
You can't on PS.
Yeah,
Save
to ask,
but
you have to ask someone on PC.
bruh. It won't let me save either. So
जो Maniac Knight please ready.
I'm gonna go watch FA Cup and quali.
Yep.
Peace.
right, GGWP to everybody.
कल था है ना?
Yes,
I will crash.
timings will be updated soon.
What do you mean timings?
Like what time we
अच्छा, oh,
start.
तो 6:30 race है, so he were at like 9.
ठीक है, we'll do so.
Yeah.
Alright, so that was it for the second race weekend of Regional Community Cup Round 3. It was an exciting race. We saw a lot of things happening all across the track. And thank you to everybody who tuned in today. We will be racing around Spa-Francorchamps in Belgium tomorrow. So it is going to be round 4 of the Community Cup. So stay tuned for it and join to watch another exciting race weekend. Until then, have a good day, good evening, wherever you are. Take care. Ciao.